All right, Kuldeep, when you're about to launch a new product, which is still in the design phase, what are some things that can be done from the research perspective?
So launch a new product, which means there is no earlier version to compare it with. So this might be a complete net new product. I honestly don't know that a whole lot changes based on that statement. The general guidelines about research of getting feedback during that product development life cycle still applies. Uh, for a new product, there's generally a whole lot of more anxiety within the organization because it's a big bet that somebody is betting will work. Somebody is willing to bet that there is a product market fit. And so I generally find that there is more anxiety. Sometimes the product leader or the CPO or the CTO or the CEO might not publicly acknowledge, but I can assure you with near 100% certainty that there is some anxiety. And so if we can conduct research to mitigate that risk long before the product is out into the market, any executive that is willing to bet big will appreciate that help. Now, small sample size user research will never definitively answer is there a product market fit or not. Right? Don't go in and claim 90% of people said this sucks and it's never going to work. Even if that happened, polish it a little bit, try to understand the why. Hey, maybe we're not solving the right pain point, or maybe we need to size this pain point a little bit more, or or mitigate that risk by positioning it as a we're trying to do a little bit deep dive into the understanding of the problem that we're trying to solve for them. I don't know who asked that question, but if you can narrate a little bit more of the product or the outcome, I'm happy to chat more. Yeah, there's a
Kranti, did you
Kranti.
come on the camera to to speak, or you don't have to come on camera if you just want to do voice?
So yeah, thank you for taking that question. Actually, we do have a previous product like which is offering a solution for D2C banks based out of US. Like it is offering data analytics, like out of the box dashboards, through which I mean through our product they can access them by connecting different sources. But this year we are trying to narrow down the focus to only brands. Like earlier we served it like a buffet for everyone, but now we're trying to make it for use case based and also targeting
Yeah,
ICP,
I mean,
targeted ICP's brand.
sure. I'm sure there are lots of details to go through, and but inherently, Kranti, someone in the organization is betting that what we were doing in the past, there's some value to be unlocked by what you just said, right? So that's a hypothesis. People that are making those decisions are have reasons to believe that to be true. And I mean, they might have come from the domain, they might be spending time with customers. So I'll generally take them on their face value that they know what they're talking about, and that what they're saying might be true. I can assure you again with 100% certainty that there is uncertainty in any of these decisions, right? And so what you want to position is, hey, we're not asking for 6 months more. We're asking for some design validation of that hypothesis along the way so that we can optimize the solution much better, which will be faster time to market and acceptance of that, right? And so as long as the ask is reasonable and the maturity of organization is in a place where the executive is willing to learn and they don't see you as a I'm doing this to oppose your decision, as long as those things are true, it's very reasonable for every executive to say, yeah, okay, go ahead, do that. Start small, right? I mean, don't ask for 6 months, don't ask for $1 million if the maturity isn't there. Start with 2 participants for all I care, right? I mean, forget n is equal to, you will have customer stories with those 2 customers, which is better than 0.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, Kuldeep, I don't know how much time you have left. We have about 3 questions, and they are sort of about um, getting into UX and career trajectory. So I might frame them in a way that's related to your book. Um, one of the questions is, do you have some tips to get into UX research roles as a fresher? So a fresh graduate is what I'm imagining is being asked here. Any advice for those job hunting for UX research positions, since it's a really tough job market right now? And also, what is some realistic career pathing? What's an approach for that for somebody who wants to emphasize quant research?
Yeah, if I forget one of them, remind me. Let me start with the third one. There is a chapter on job roles, levels, and definition. So career pathing. Uh, every company has roles at different levels, different titles, but there is a general pattern, and all the way from entry level to a principal, senior, distinguished, and generally there are somewhere between 6 to 9 levels at most companies that I've worked for. And there is a standard table that I have always used from organization to organization, which says, hey, here are the levels for individual contributor, and here are the levels for the management track, and here are the expectations, and here are the outcomes that are desired from each one of them. It's a giant Excel spreadsheet for the book purposes, so made it a little bit smaller and is generally available. So that, I think, answers the third one. The how do you get into this market? Well, sadly, it's a little bit of a tough market right now, has been for the last year and a half. And the book doesn't get into how to get into this market. The first, even before I get into chapter one, I say this book is for people that are practicing research. If someone wants to learn how to conduct research, can simply do a Google search and find tons and tons of resources. There's lots of courses. There are plenty of educational material. There are certification courses that are out there. I don't have them readily in front of me, but I know for sure there are many resources out there. What was the first question?
It was how to get into UX research roles, especially as someone who might be a new graduate.
Yeah. I mean, my path was after my engineering, my undergrad is engineering. I went to Clemson, South Carolina for my master's in HCI, Human Computer Interaction.
Mhm.
That's where I got introduced to uh, the design, the user-centered design, user research, methods, tools. That's how I learned. And but honestly, most of the learning is on the job. You just start executing research and you learn as you do more of it. And so I encourage on ADP list when I do mentorship sessions, I encourage everyone to find projects. It could be not for profit. It could be something that you're passionate about. Help someone. There's no shortage of bad design out there in the world. There's plenty of poorly designed websites, pathetic B2B applications. There is just no shortage of it. And if you can find it and help them, even if it's a non-profit, conduct some research, it can add value to your portfolio and it might help them. So execute, do more. That way you have more stories to narrate.
I love that. Kuldeep, this is a question of my own. If out of the 52 superpowers in your book, if you had to, I guess, pick one to highlight when you're the interviewee in a job interview setting, what's the one that you think you would want to show off? Make sure that manager knows that this is one of your superpowers and they should hire you because of that.
Yeah, I don't know that there is a generic answer to that. It depends
Mm.
on the role, the level, and but most job descriptions will talk about it. Hey, mixed method researcher. Well, if that's the case, then there is the sample size plus mixed method, or how do I triangulate insights from different research methods and come up with the full story with the now what so what. So I can package 3 or 4 of the superpowers and narrate a simple story.
Okay.
Uh, and it takes practice. I mean, even that elevator pitch is just one example, but anytime most researchers tend to be introverts, most designers tend to be introverts. I hang out a lot with sales and marketing people, and I get exhausted within a couple of hours, right? Because I just can't meet their hyper energy levels. But what I learn from them is how they narrate the stories, how they pitch. It's selling is hard job. If you have worked with any seller, there's a chapter dedicated to learn from marketing, learn from sales. Their jobs are difficult. They have to be constantly pitching. So learn how to pitch, learn how to sell. Doesn't matter what you're selling. We're always selling something. I don't know why I went on that topic. Oh yeah, back to the interviewee thing, right? Which is you're pitching yourself.
Mhm. That makes sense. It sounds like there is a lot to learn from the roles that are around us for sure. Okay, well, I see that we're definitely about 12 minutes over. Kuldeep, thank you for staying this extra time, and those of you who stayed to learn extra from our speaker. Appreciate you taking the time to stay as well. I don't think I saw any other questions, so thank you again for attending. We hope to see you at our next event. Let's go ahead and wrap it up.
Cool. Hey, post it on LinkedIn. Tag me. I'll tag myself. Thank you, Raymond. Loved it. Enjoyed it.
You were great.